up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up.
Welcome to North East Truth, folks. Most of you obviously know who we are already. Nice to see some new faces. We'll just get straight on with it. Today's talk is Psychological Operations, Social Conditioning and Predictive Programming. Welcome, Anthony Murray.
How's everyone? My name is Anthony. I'm going to give this talk, Psychological Operations, Social Conditioning and Predictive Programming. I've no reason to give this talk. I'm not going to profit from it in any way. But from coming across information, I decided to make a talk and highlight some of the information I've found on these areas. On the YouTube channel, Who's Afraid of Reality, loads of videos, getting content there. And also there's a website, truthforum.co.uk, where I have all the reference URLs for all the documents, declassified documents, academic papers, white papers, all sorts of documentation background that I'm seeing. So I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. I only have 10 today, but I have a number of CDs burned containing a few hundred of these documents. So people can take them, and if don't have enough for everyone, I can get people's address and post it out to them, and they can reach the documents for themselves. So a few nice little quotes to talk about. A good idea is to think independently. There's a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all argument, which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is content prior to investigation. Herbert Spencer. And another one, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. Albert Einstein, quite like that. So do methods exist to directly or indirectly control your thoughts and perceptions? And I was talking a while ago about how advertising does it, and yes it does. Sadly, yes to do. Basically it's like a mathematical function. If you control the input to the mathematical function, you control the output. If you control the input to someone's mind, input information, its content, structure, the technique of the delivery and the regularity of the input, then you control that person's perceptions of the mind and their actions out in the world. So what are some common examples of manipulation of public perception which I've sort of found to be true when you look into some of these things? A blood-related global elite. I think, who here, I'm sure most people here probably are understanding something like that exists, where you have massive big banking families who control all national central banks, loan money to governments, who then control all the big corporations, who control everything that goes on about power and the influence and lobby politics. And that you have a situation where you have George Bush and Dick Cheney and Obama openly admitted in places like CNN that they're blood related, 13th, 12th, cousin to the Queen of England and all these other aristocratic families in Europe. Now if you get out your maths book and go through, work out some probability on that, for the population of America, 300 million, the idea that you have a few people getting through to these high powers is astronomical numbers. Absolutely ridiculous. So there's something going on there. There's this constant push towards global government. You see this all the way around the world in politics, and all these big banking and political leaders talk about this. The central banking system, the population are kept completely ignorant of what the central banking system is and what it actually does. You've private banks in each country, you loan money to the government. Now if you're the only source of money to a family or a company or a country, then you pretty much have all the say in what's going on in that country. You're their daddy. And that's what's going on in all countries. You take money out of your pocket, Central Bank of England, take a euro out of your pocket, European Central Bank, and to America, Federal Reserve, everywhere. China, Israel, every country on the planet. Why don't the population know about this? Who creates money, what gives it value? The true nature of war, another complete control perception of the population. You have multi-billion pound corporations who make all the weapons which are used in war. Governments don't make the weapons. No country on the planet makes their weapons. They buy it off corporations. Multi-billion pound corporations who have made all the weapons for every war. So of course they're going to go out and lobby and influence politics and guide it their own way. They're about making money straight up, you know. The population seem to get caught up in believing all this nationalistic sort of ideas. When you have the same people make hundreds of millions at foreign war, gain political power, economic power, social power, control the mainstream media. Mainstream media is nothing more than just a massive propaganda machine controlled by these same people that people look into this and sort of have to regiment the thoughts of the population. It's not about independent thought. I'll go into some of that later on. The political and legal systems. These are systems which people have been indoctrinated to accept, which are about keeping people down, trapping them. It's not about trying to give you any sort of freedom. Most people in terms of the legal system, why have you got a legal dictionary and an English dictionary? And the fact that, you know, an ordinary person can't understand the law which is supposed to be there to protect them. But it's not there to protect you, it's there to keep you down. That's why they're not trying to teach in schools about these things. And it's hard for people to see through because they've been so indoctrinated into thinking these ways about these systems. These systems which you know, allow a billion people to starve to death on the planet. These systems which allow war to go ahead. These systems which hold back so much potential coming there. We're not talking about that. Global warming, science on global warming is a lot of big scientists who come out and talk about how absolute nonsense it is. But that's not to be discussed. A massive push in this whole global warming thing is to link, to try and link the means of CO2 to control economics. You don't want to see the planet destroyed with pollution, but if you can link CO2 to the economy, then you have a way of controlling the world's economy, economic warfare. And the only way that it's possible to stop global warming is to set up a private international bank, which they want to do now is International Carbon Bank, owned by these same people who own all the central banks, that all the world's countries have to pay their tax to this private international bank. And the tax doesn't go back into grassroots efforts to cut back on target and that, cut back on carbon and stuff like this. It's a control. That's all it's about. And if you look through the documentation, there is no economic growth from Africa, no, or South America or other countries. They're stuck in that state. It's about economic control. And then the thing that gets the cat out of the bag, if you say to them, well, hang on a second, you know, you're putting in all these carbon systems in place, fair enough. If the science comes out and proves that this is all nonsense, will you remove the economic control systems? They say, no, the economic control systems are staying in place. Where's the science in that? It's about economic control. And it's been churned in the mainstream media to make people think these ways. Education system, talk a bit about that later on. Indoctrinating people. One of the main things, brainwashing, if you read through any sort of CIA manuals which relate to it, repeat, repeat, repeat. That's how you indoctrinate people. That's all the education system is. Doesn't give the, I'll go into that later on, false flag attacks, population kept ignorant of that. That's a common point of academic history that through that governments and militaries attack their own populations, as has happened in this country loads of times, attack their own populations to get a desired reaction from the population so they can push forward a political, social and economic agenda. And later on I'll go through a big long list of that, but hopefully a lot of people are familiar with that. But population kept ignorant of that, not told about that in school. How's that? Weather modification, I just threw that in there because it's quite interesting. People are constantly told this sort of idea is impossible, but you have very interesting documents from the military talking about how this is part of their military strategy, control and modify weather. If you look in Vietnam War, loads of declassified files on things like Operation Popeye, which was part of the military strategy to seed clouds and change weather over certain areas of Vietnam to change the conditions on the land to affect the military outcome. And so we're here to win war. We're not here to play games. We're going to invest money in every avenue to help us win. So that has been advanced and we've talked about in some documents, electromagnetic arrays being used for this sort of stuff, which out of one-off sentence sounds a bit ludicrous, but when you look into some of it, there's actually more substance to it, but the population kept thinking about it. So a short side before you even get into all this psychological operations and this stuff is, who's the state people constantly refer to when they talk about, you know, state control and stuff?
The enemy of the world.
Yeah, why not?
We the people in the world.
Completely. Historically controlling families operate in hierarchy.